I'm going to show you 3 different reclined positions that you can use when you practice your body scanning and meditation. Sometimes women have a hard time finding a position to get comfortable in when you're in pain. So please keep in mind the intention behind these poses are to facilitate relaxation. So I'm making suggestions to you on how you can try that, but know that you can kind of add or take away anything that isn't working for you. Ultimately, you want to be able to let go, focus on your breath, and focus on the quality of your thoughts. I recommend having a blanket or a soft surface to lie on, a blanket at the top end to support your head and neck. And then I have a wedge here that's going to be placed beneath my knees. You obviously might not have that, so you can substitute this with pillows, blankets, or even rolled up yoga mats would be sufficient. And this position, we're just going to lie on back. I'm going to place my legs on top of the support here. Let my head and my neck be supported by the blanket below. My arms can rest by my side. So the reason I have support beneath the legs and beneath the knees is often when our legs are flat on the floor, it creates a little bit more torque and a little bit more load within the pelvis, and people will complain of experiencing tension in the low back. So by placing something beneath it, it just takes that load off and facilitates a little more relaxation. The second option is similar to the first, only it's going to require a little bit more props and an open mind. So you're going to want to have a yoga strap or a belt or a scarf and a weight. I am using a 5-pound bag of rice, and I chose this because it's probably something you have easy access to. You can go to the Dollar Tree, Walmart, or wherever you are in the world and get a 5-pound bag of rice. And you're also going to need a blanket for your head and your neck, a blanket to put on top of your legs, as well as a blanket or pillow beneath the knees. To begin, we're going to place our legs on top of the support. Then we'll take our yoga strap or belt. That will work just as good. And we're going to wrap it around our legs. Now, I have mine pre-looped, so we're not here forever. So you're going to place your strap or your belt about mid-thigh, so not at the knees, but not all the way up at the hips. And you're going to want to tighten this strap so that there's a little bit of tension in it. So when you pull on it, it's not loose, but it's not digging into your skin, okay? So you'll have to play around with the appropriate amount of feedback here. What this does is facilitate a neutral position in our femurs. So often when we lie back, your legs roll out to the side. If you look at your feet, they'll probably be turned out. Again, that just creates a little more torque on the body. So by keeping it neutral, it allows the thigh bone to settle into the hip socket and release tension within the pelvis. Next, reach for that second blanket. You're going to place it on top of your thighs, like so. You'll take your weight or your rice bag, whatever you have handy, and you're going to place that on top of the thighs. From here, bend your elbows, lie on back to find your head and neck supported on the blanket beneath you. If you feel anything isn't supported, make some adjustments. So if you need more beneath the head and the neck, add pillows, add blankets. If the support beneath your knees isn't enough, add some support there. You might also notice that the weight on top of your legs is creating an unhappy feeling in the low back. So there's a couple things we can do here. We can remove the weight altogether. You certainly don't have to use it. You could go down in weight, maybe use a 1-pound or 3-pound bag of rice. You also could use 2 bags. So for example, I would take 1 bag on one thigh and then 1 bag on another. Sometimes that creates a different sensation. Or you can remove the bag, move your blanket up towards your pelvis and low belly, place the weight there and lie back. And that might create a different sensation in your body. This variation is a personal favorite of mine, especially when I'm focusing on deep belly breathing. I find the weight allows the lower half of the body to settle, and it really facilitates a deeper reach of my breath. And I'm going to show you what that looks like So notice the bag of rice and blanket on my belly. When I draw my breath in, I can really sort of think of my breath expanding and pressing into that. And then as I exhale, the weight just kind of anchors down. Sometimes it can be really hard to sense that diaphragmatic breath, so the weight on top just helps facilitate it. This last option is called Supta Baddha Konasana, and it tends to be a class favorite. It's one of my favorites as well. It does require a little bit of a setup once again, but once you find that sweet spot, you'll be able to let go and really focus on your breath. We're going to place 2 yoga blocks at the top of our mat. Again, if you don't have yoga blocks, you can substitute them with stacked blankets or pillows. If you have a block, you're going to place one in the medium setting and then one on the tallest setting right above it. You're going to take a pillow, or in my case, a sofa cushion, and place it right on top. Okay, so the idea here is we're creating a little bit of an elevated resting place for our torso. Now, before we move on, I want you to just test this out. From having experience, I can tell by looking at this is going to be a little bit too low for my head and my neck, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So you're going to bring the back of your pelvis and your sacrum to rest on the pillow. We want to make sure that that's supported. Then we're going to lie on back just to test the height of our prop here. So this might feel really good for you, but like I said, in my body, I feel like my head and my neck are kind of falling back in space, and it would feel better for me to be up a little bit higher. I'm going to take a blanket and place it on top of the pillow. You could certainly place this beneath your pillow if that's more comfortable for you. So I'm going to place it here at the top. Once again, we're going to test this out. So we're going to place the sacrum on the back of the pillow or the bottom of the pillow, and I'm going to lie on back. This is a little bit better, but I feel like it could improve a little bit more. So now I'm going to take this blanket, roll it up a smidgen here just beneath my head and my neck, and this feels great. Now, hopefully you can see how my head and my neck are a little bit more in line with my torso here. And one thing I want you to keep in mind when you're trying these poses out, ask yourself a set of 3 questions. Does this feel better? Does it feel worse? Or does it feel the same? And we're always striving for better. Okay, so from here, I want you to also take 2 more blankets or pillows, one by your side. So what we're going to do here is rest them beneath the forearms and the elbows. So you're going to play around with the depth of the support. I feel like mine could be a little bit higher. So I'm going to fold my blanket on both the left and the right side and place them sort of on an angle here away from the center of the mat. Now my elbows and my forearms can rest without feeling a tug or pull in the shoulders, okay? So this portion of the setup is sort of like a little bit of play. You've got to figure out what feels best in your body. So now that I know this upper part of my body feels really supported, now we can move on to the lower half. So I'm going to sit on up, take 1 more blanket, and this is where I feel like it gets really yummy. I'm going to open up my blanket so it's folded in half. I'm going to place my feet, or the soles of my feet, on my mat or on my blanket here. Then I'm going to draw them into the center, open my knees out a little bit so now the soles of my feet are touching. Take your blanket. We're going to place it on top of your feet, on top of your toes, and then you're going to wrap the edges around and kind of smush them on the outer edge of your glute and your hips. You're going to do the same thing on the other side, okay? So we're creating like this little wedge here. Now we're going to lie on back. We're going to open the legs, open the arms, palms facing up. Feels pretty good. Okay, so let's talk about a few alternatives. So let's say you're lying here and you're just feeling a little bit of pull in the groin and in the hips. You could take blankets to support the outer thighs here as well. You could put yoga blocks there. Okay? You also can add weight to the top of your legs. Personally, I don't like it in this position, but some women do enjoy it. So again, you get that rice bag, place one on each leg. I also recommend maybe having a blanket on top of you or something to keep you warm here. You really want to feel supported and like you can just completely let go. I like to think of it as creating a little cocoon for my body. And from here, we can focus on our body scanning and meditation practice.